I think, my job now is to actually help clients communicate better. And so I'm coming at it from your point of view. I'm coming at it from, well, what are the things that we have to try to get our clients to figure out first and foremost, because half the clients that will come to you won't necessarily have a strategy in place, especially in the nonprofit world where you can't just say, our measure of success is we've sold more products, yay. A tiny bit about Make Believe. We're a small company. I'm like the oldest person in the company and I'm 29, so it's a very young company. And we really are the kind of only people in Australia who do exactly what we do. There are a lot of people who are saying we're social media advisors. There are a lot of people who are saying we can help your organization do its social responsibility, or we can help your organization do green marketing. But there's no one that kind of has our mix of like political campaigning background, along with the ability to like say do design and like roll out a whole campaign. So, yes, we are progressive and values-driven, but we're not party-aligned. We did do the Greens national strategy in the Melbourne campaign at the last federal election, so Adam Bant was the first guy to ever break through the lower house. And that was an excellent campaign, but I'm going to be talking to you about something different today. This is the kind of stuff that clients most often want to know. How do I get people to care about my cause? And that, and then how do they measure whether they care or not? Or maybe they do care, but they can't engage with it because okay, I care about all sorts of things that I don't actually feel like I have the ability to make a difference in. These are the kinds of internal objectives that clients are usually interested in. So there's the kind of external big picture, I want to get my campaign win, whatever that goal is. And often that has to do with decision makers that we can't directly control. Like, we'd love to be able to call up Julia Gillard and say, hey, can you give more money to foreign aid this year? Thanks. But it's not really our call. So these are the kind of internal objectives that become really, really important. Can I grow my membership list? If I can grow my membership list, I can then fundraise more from them, or I have more people turning up to rallies or volunteering on the ground. I can get people talking much more in a social media way. I can get them to do really useful things. We can get media coverage. All of this adds up to this sort of more power and influence. And when we started GetUp, we kind of started with nothing but an email list, and now GetUp has over 400,000 members. They are able to fundraise hundreds of thousands of dollars at the click of an email, which is a massive thing when you think about what the barrier to entry used to be to reach that many people. It was really, really expensive. What it always comes back to is the strategy, and it's really going to be your job to help your clients figure out what that is. So what are their most important priorities and objectives? Are they just going, oh, social media, we want people on social media because it's the cool thing? That's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But we kind of want to be agnostic, I believe, about the tools that we use, because the tools should serve the strategy, not the other way around. And it's also about integrated communication, which I know is the theme of the whole course. So hopefully you guys have been thinking a lot about that. So we think about what's the strategy and then what's the best way of getting there. Some clients have a lot of money that they can potentially fundraise for a big ad. Some clients don't. Some clients, we work with unions that have, call centers and staff on the ground all over the state, and they can reach a lot of people face to face and directly. And there are other people that only have an online presence. Some people's online presence and email communication is awesome, and they can send out an email to lots of people, highly segmented and tailored on the turn of a dime. Other people, it takes them 6 weeks to get an email approved in their organization. So these are all the kind of internal considerations that become really important. I mentioned before that video is becoming a really important tool in kind of social communications, online engagement. Most of us would rather watch a video than read a big lengthy email or do any number of things. So we know from testing that if you get an email that says watch this video, you're much more likely to open it, first of all, and that's one of the most important barriers. There are also companies that are spending millions of dollars on videos and trying to make them go viral, and and the great thing about the internet is it's so democratic. Like, you don't really have more power than anybody else to make a video go viral. Whether it's like that guy who brought his son home from the dentist, or whether it's, Coca-Cola. So video is a really interesting way to reach out and engage your supporters, and there are all sorts of great examples of video being used to do that. And I just wanted to show you two. They're actually a little bit old now, but they've kind of set the gold standard, and they're still quite good, I think. So they really helped kind of shape a whole new genre of communication, particularly in the nonprofit sector. So this is from our friends at True Majority in the US, and this guy is the founder of Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
I want to give you an idea as to exactly how many nuclear weapons the United States currently has. Here's one BB. That represents the equivalent of 15 Hiroshima-sized bombs. Now here's 6 BBs. That would be enough nuclear weapons to blow up all of Russia. And now I'm going to drop the amount of BBs that represents our total nuclear arsenal. That was 10,000 BBs, the equivalent of 150,000 Hiroshima-sized bombs. It costs our country over $17 billion a year to maintain those nuclear weapons and their delivery systems. But for that amount of money, we could rebuild all of our schools and provide Head Start and health care for every kid who needs it. So tell your congresspeople to put an end to all this craziness.
Is that just his own project that he decided to do that, or?
So he created this organization that you can go and look up online. They're called truemajority.org, and it was created a number of years ago now. And I think, yeah, he decided to do this and got kind of a small team of people around him, and just wanted to advocate on something that he cared about, and then made this video for obviously very little budget. And it's just one of many videos. Like they break down the federal budget with Oreo cookies. It's awesome. You should go check it out. Yeah. Any other? Yeah.
Was it successful?
I mean, how do you define success? And that's always the challenge in nonprofit communication. Like, yes, it's been seen a lot of times. I think it's successful if your measure is, does it make people understand something that's really dry and technical and complex and not necessarily easy to grasp. I mean, it does that for me. It helps me to just go, that's insane, So I think it does impact people when they see it. But I think, it's only one tool in the arsenal, like to actually get the United States to commit to, which they are now, reducing their nuclear arsenal. There would be a whole offline lobbying, there'd be so much other work that was happening as well behind the scenes. But this is just a great kind of public communication tool, I reckon. Now, this was a video that was launched at the last US national election. And so what was happening politically at the time was that Barack Obama was doing quite well, and a lot of people thought that he was just going to win and it was all going to be fine. It was going to be this foregone conclusion. As most of you might know, in the States, voting isn't mandatory. So whereas here, our campaigns focus on reaching the middle targeted set of swing voters who might go one way and might go the other way, but either way they have to vote. In the States, campaigning tends to really focus on getting to your base and trying to make sure that they get out and vote. And then if you can, you try to reach out beyond that. So it goes from kind of persuasion to just turnout. We just need to make sure that we get people to the polls. And they had this challenge where there were a lot of people who they were afraid really weren't going to vote. And yet, how do you create a message about going to vote that people would actually send to their friends? And that isn't like, you should really go vote on Saturday, because I'm not going to send that to my friends. I don't want to be that person, So this is the thing that they created.
U.S. elections are always close, but the nation was shocked Tuesday night to see John McCain defeat Barack Obama by a single vote.
We sure showed them what a comeback looks like.
For many, shock soon turned to outrage as the New York Times revealed the identity of the particular non-voter responsible for Obama's loss. In just a few short days, this private citizen has become a national pariah. Fearing retribution, local police took the non-voter into protective custody yesterday at City Hall. Disgruntled citizens have been demonstrating ever since.
You're supposed to Barack the vote, but what happened? The vote didn't even get Baracked.
I waited in line 5 hours to vote with an arthritic hip, and this mother lazy couldn't get out of bed in time to vote.
International reaction has been just as intense, even in some of the most remote locations.
यो मेरो अनुभवमा यो 2-4 सालभन्दा अहिले 5वटा पोखरी फुट्यो.
However, the non-voter has become a hero to a small sliver of the population.
I thank you for your service. I thank you for what you've done for the United States of America.
Bet that guy is a factor viewer. He's also a patriot.
Coming up, How long until we nuke Iran? Experts say it could be as early as Saturday, around lunchtime.
So yeah, that was another great example of just something that was really creative. It was fun. There have been a lot of copycat videos attempted from this model. Everyone wants to do an insert your name video because it's personal and it's clever. And it also means that instead of just linking it on your Facebook and saying, hey, people, check this out, you have an incentive to actually send it through their email tool because it then personalizes it for all of your friends. So they're capturing a lot more email addresses, which I think spam laws are different in different countries. So they would still have to say, do you want to continue to hear from us, yes or no? But it has a much higher kind of conversion rate of actually getting those people in the door and getting them to become part of the cause. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.